Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 166. Wow, geez, this is what happens. We lose Craig, we lose the other Craig, and now I
Yep,
can't talk anymore.
man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 166 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news as we watched or played over the week. We're going a little bit old school this week, as it's just me, Barry, and my co-host.
It's just me, Craig. We lost the other Craig for a week. To tie into last week, has he become the one closer to God?
Yeah, at this point he does.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's one closer to God.
he's guardian angel. Is that no? That's what they call the people in the masks. I don't know that. I still don't know what that show's about.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I'm trying to now and I just recently finished it, so it's like,
Yeah,
okay, is I'm trying to remember.
I think the
No,
masks are
no,
guardian angels, aren't they?
well, no, but like like the masks don't interfere with the angels' work. So yeah, so it's angels and then the ones closer to God. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yep. All right. So we'll
because
say
it's
Craig has become the one closer to God for the week.
yeah, and we're both angels sitting here talking about video
Something
games.
like that. Yep.
Yeah, something like it. What's not something like it is the news because it's always that one's always closer to God. That is
It's
God
true.
for gaming.
It's true.
So this week it's kind of all over the place, but I'm interested to see what you have and what I have.
Sure.
First off is like rumors with Assassin's Creed. Looks like they're making a Black Flag remaster. I'll be honest, I know people love Black Flag. I did not care for it. Um,
Really?
yeah, it was. I had played 1, 2, 3, Unity. All the other ones, for whatever reason, I don't know. And I've said this before. Being a pirate, I don't get it. I don't know. It just doesn't intrigue me. Like maybe killing zombies or stuff like that. But I'm not
It's
sure.
fair.
Were you a big fan of Black Flag?
Yeah, I think because to this day I've never beaten a single Assassin's Creed, any of them. But Black
Oh,
Flag
okay.
was that one was the one I got closest to beating. So I guess that would be the one I like the most if we're gonna say that. It'd be
Yeah.
that, and I think Assassin's Creed 2 I probably played a lot of. But yeah, I enjoyed Black Flag. I didn't enjoy the sailing aspect. I could do without, but just like the normal everyday pirate stuff I thought was pretty cool.
And
But it's weird.
now
Do you think it's
I
weird
was
they're doing it and Skull and Bones?
yes because I also just feel like at this point like who is excited for Skull and Bones? Like
Yeah,
at
nobody.
least in my eyes, it's been delayed so many times. Like at this point, they're just trying to cut losses and they'll be like, whoever buys this game buys it. I guess at this
Hmm.
point, but it does feel a little weird that they're releasing this and then they're now and then the rumor is that this is a remaster and things like that. So it is a little strange for sure, but whatever gets people to buy their games, I guess for the most part. And Black Flag does have like a very very hardcore fanship. So
Yep.
next up for me, and I only recently heard about this stuff. Did you watch the Small Soldiers trailer?
Mm, it sounds familiar. Small
So,
Soldiers. Go ahead. I'm gonna look
yeah.
it up.
Yeah, so what it is apparently much like the movie that we all remember, like with
Hmm.
toy soldiers and things like that, and war against each other. A studio recently bought the rights for like making a video game based off of this stuff.
Okay.
So, and what they're doing is they're taking a bunch of those old concepts that were like movie wise and trying to make them video games. The trailer for Small Soldiers is kind of their first like soiree, I'm gonna call it, into like making these old 90s franchises into games. It is very interesting to say the least because I remember a game like that. I remember, no, sorry, not a game, but like a movie like this where it was
Hmm.
um like GI Joe type soldiers versus these almost I want to say for a lack of a better term like Beauty and the Beast, like they were brown animals
Yep.
um standing upright. So it's a strange trailer, but they're making a game that's kind of based on it. You can see there if you're watching the trailer,
Hmm.
there's a girl soldier who looks a lot like the girl from Wreck-It Ralph. And
Yeah.
then there are these Necro Knights, is what they're called, and they're, I guess, the evil corporation. But
Okay.
the Necro Knights character design is just really cool. They The little that you see from this trailer kind of shows that there is some cool art design to be had with it. I'm just personally afraid that it's a team based shooter, just because it looks like, based on the soldiers that you see on her side and the soldiers you see on the Necro Knights, they're like tank. There's like ninja classes and things, and like probably the regular shooter class. So there's a lot to look at with this trailer. I was just kind of floored, one, because it was fun to watch, and two, because like I had no idea this was something that was happening.
Yeah, that's weird. Like I loved that movie growing up. And there was a game for PlayStation 1, I think, that was based off the movie that I played a ton. So, I mean,
Mhm.
I'd be interested to check it out if it is a team based. If you're thinking, are you thinking like an Overwatch style?
That's what it looks like they're trying to
Okay.
push it as, but I don't want an Overwatch
No.
style one. I'd like something with, I don't know. And like you can make a story around like two different squads, good versus evil type thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to make it a team-based shooter, but it just feels like, for the sake of a lot of companies, it's like, oh, team-based shooter, that sells. That's easy to make. You don't
Yeah.
have to write a story.
I would assume then if they bought the rights that maybe we get some cameos
That'd be
in the
cool.
game from like the other people. Yeah, I'll be interested to check it out for sure, depending on how much it is.
Yeah, it was just funny just because I was scrolling YouTube and I'm like, why is this video being recommended to me four different times? And then when looking at it, I was like, oh, this is a video game that's gonna be coming out and it's made in Unreal Engine 5. So there's a ton of like cool stuff that I guess is coming down the pipeline that I sometimes,
Yeah, that could be
you
really
know,
interesting.
someone who's wired into the gaming, it's hard not to like hear about something and then you see it, it's like, what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't
Kind of
happen
deal.
very often anymore.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised.
Hmm.
Now, my next news story. Have you ever been to the Nintendo store in New York City?
No.
So there, on at the New York store, they had kind of a step-by-step console generation type showcase thing that they had, and there used to be an original Game Boy that survived the Gulf War. That
Hmm.
was there. It looked all beat up, but it still ran. Like it was running like Tetris or something on it when you would go see it. The sad portion is that that Game Boy has now been returned to Washington State in the
Oh.
headquarters for Nintendo of America. No one knows like what they're gonna do with it or what happened to it. Maybe it just finally stopped working. But anybody who had like it's a neat little story about like finding this Game Boy, the fact that it still works, it survived the Gulf War, and now it's not going to be there anymore because even when I went, almost probably like 8 7 years ago,
Hmm.
like it's always been there since then. So to take something away from like a store like that is kind of a big deal to some people. So you won't be able
I
to see
think
it
I've
anymore.
seen pictures of it. I
You
remember
definitely have.
hearing about it. Yeah, that's interesting though. Yeah, maybe it did stop working and they wanted to fix it, maybe preserve it.
Maybe, or maybe just something that like maybe they notice people aren't like looking at that anymore or things
Hmm.
like that, because it's kind of a separate showcase in that store where it's like, here's a Nintendo 64, or and here's a Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, DS, and all this other type of stuff. Maybe nobody's really paying attention to that anymore.
Okay.
um
Yeah.
but it's cool game history if you're like interested in looking at it, which is why like one enjoyed seeing that, just because
Yeah, I
I remember
definitely would have wanted to look at it for sure.
yeah, I remember having a big fat Game Boy. Like I remember having that big thing. So
Yep.
it's different. Next up for me, and this is more or less about Magic the Gathering. I know this is trading cards, but this has to do with Lord of the Rings. So
Yep.
Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast made one the Ring card that was available in their collector's packs, valued at $2 million. It was kind of a race to see who would find it for first. Of course, a card shop
Of
found it,
course.
not like somebody who actually needs it, but like a card shop that found the $2 million card, sent and got it graded, and it got a 9 back, which is kind of funny because there's
Yeah.
only one of them. But like the thing was, is like they were showing off this card. It was like on exhibit and things like that. So it's not like a pristine card that has never been seen before or anything like that. But the card has been graded. It now belongs in a card shop, and at least if they ever decide to sell it, I guess, do you sell it or do you almost like, oh, you want to see the card? We'll charge you like $5 for it. kind of deal. Like
I think you sell it because me personally, do you feel like it like degrades over time as far as value?
I don't think they've ever done something like this before, which is why I'm thinking like, okay, maybe it is like worth over time,
Hmm.
but it is a one of one card that will, it's nobody else is going to have it unless they reprint the set and reprint the card.
Right.
So, it's just kind of like, do you earn money now by selling it, or over time do you just like let people see it for $1 sort of thing?
Yeah.
And
Do you feel like the card collecting market has just been like not maybe I don't know. I almost feel like ruined because of like card shops and people who are spending like thousands and thousands of dollars to hoard all these packs. Like I think I would have been more excited if it just went to somebody randomly who bought a pack and opened it, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Like, definitely. And this all is because of COVID again, where people are stuck inside and they're all
Yeah.
looking to make a quick buck. And people hear about, oh, we can do trading cards and that will make us money. So now the trading card game is now almost not about collecting or playing anymore, but
Hmm.
like buy. And it's the same thing with Pokemon, which is what I collect. It's like people just like buy these boxes, never open them, wait, and then sell them for 200% markup at a later date. So
Right.
it's there really is no winning in here. Like, I personally open the cards, I keep them all in a binder. I like having them. I like that portion of collecting it. Unless I'm in desperate need for money at some point, I don't see me selling, my
Right.
Pokemon cards. But who knows?
Yeah. I don't really pay attention to like collecting cards. The only one I've paid attention to is the LeBron James triple logo man that people are still trying to find. I know like
Yeah. Yep.
Drake is trying to find it, and like that one interests me because it's like still out there somewhere. But those packs are like thousands of dollars to buy too because they come in like
Wait.
a metal case and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just like that stuff, and
Hmm.
that's where like card collecting kind of loses me. Where
Yeah.
it's like I liked when it was affordable and stuff, like you could just get
Yep.
cool stuff in random, packs and things like that. Where nowadays, especially with like sports cards, are the biggest offenders of this. Where you have to buy this $600 briefcase thing that comes with 6 cards. Yes, they're all signed and have like game worn like
Right.
jerseys or autographs on them, but you're you have to pay $1,000 for it. And like in this particular case, you're looking for one card that is worth like the entire amount of money you might have made or more. So
Yeah.
it's just sort of so rare, um, just in general with that kind of stuff. And I just don't. I get that like YouTube. I see a lot of YouTubers do it. They buy
Hmm.
these $600 packs and things like that. But for me, it's just like I liked when it was affordable and it was something that like anybody could get into. But now, like with with most cards, you have to like buy this $600 thing to get anything that amounts to cool most of the time.
Yeah. I just remember like buying saving up and buying like a whole box of like Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know what, like $100 or something like that for a whole box. And like that was
Yep.
like a huge amount of money. But yeah, nowadays it would be thousands.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just that type of stuff that I don't
Yep.
really like support. And Pokemon doesn't do it as much because there isn't like a $600 version of Pokemon cards. You pretty much get a booster pack or
Right.
booster box and things like that. It's mostly sports cards that do the whole briefcase over the top sort of thing. Upper Deck, they just
Yeah.
steal money from people. But that's again, we're a video game podcast, and we went on a little
No,
10
it's
minute
fine.
discussion about trading cards. And now this is a little bit of an update on the Microsoft versus FTC
Ah,
court case.
yes.
Things are done. It is now, we have to wait a couple days apparently in order to get the info out. But I was reading The Verge, who have done an excellent job of like keeping tabs and updating people on what's going on in the courtroom. It is incredible journalism. They really should get something for this. But I picked something out in particular just because it feels like, and you're gonna understand this. So the judge makes a comment about how all of this for a shooter game, quote unquote, for Call of Duty,
Hmm.
for this one game, And then the FTC comes in and goes, I completely understand where you're coming from. On the other hand, our responsibility over this side of the room and the government is not to make a value judgment about the market, is to protect competition in the marketplace. And then the judge goes, it's the game, but of all the people that care so much that they would actually switch to Xbox that they wouldn't otherwise. So it's what I'm trying to get at is the judge just does not understand the impact that Call of Duty has, like
Right.
on people buying systems and games in general. And then the FTC closes it with, it's not about switching. The harm to PlayStation person who has Call of Duty is when they wake up after the deal closes and some new character is only on Xbox. It's not that the person is going to switch, it's that the person's experience as the value that they paid for has been degraded in some way. So, and this is all FTC. This isn't Sony saying this, but yet
Right.
again, it definitely sounds like a Sony advocate in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But it was funny just reading this particular quote to me, and it's like, if I was a judge, I would have at least maybe researched gaming a little bit, maybe figure out
Right.
what Call of Duty meant, because that's a big part of this case. And again, I'm all for like whatever they decide to do. If like FT like if they approve the merger, great. Like those employees are going to get a lot better benefit because Activision has been kind of a crap hole of a company over the
Yeah.
past couple of years. But um worrying about DLC and stuff like that, like we've had this before.
Yep.
Like the Marvel Avengers game. And I get this is a little bit different because Sony owns Spider-Man, but Spider-Man was supposed to come out for that Marvel Avengers game. I'm not sure if he ever did or not, to be completely fair.
I think he did, but it was like much, much later.
Yeah, it was much later. So it's just like things like that, and whatever they decide to do, we're gonna find out in the coming days, just because the trial has finally ended. But it just goes to show, like it's funny, like people who get paid more money than we ever could, have government jobs, and are people of power, like trying to decide what gamers want.
Yeah.
Kind of deal there, which is just funny to me, considering that you don't ask, you don't go to an expert, you don't go to somebody who has no idea what your expertise is and ask them to make a decision for you. So it's like that's what I feel like is going on, is that the judge just doesn't understand the importance of like Call of Duty or like gaming in general.
I don't. Am I crazy though that like exclusivity has always been a thing in gaming? I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
why all of a sudden this is like a huge no. It's crazy to me.
and a lot of what The Verge has been reporting is like about that. Like, why is it all of a sudden a big deal now? And
Right.
I guess it's because it's never been about um, like a gajillion dollar, $1 million game like Call of Duty is, that rakes in millions.
What about
Um,
Zelda?
Zelda, yeah, and Zelda's the
Zelda
same way.
made billions, right?
Yeah, but I
Millions.
guess it's different because Zelda has always been a part of Nintendo. They were never
Okay.
bought. I guess is the difference here, is that Microsoft
Okay.
is buying them, and it's not like something that I guess is house made, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But
What about Final Fantasy?
no, yeah, I don't, I don't know.
Like the Final Fantasy 7 remake and 16 are both, as of now, only on PlayStation, and that's not a Sony company. But that's an exclusive. I don't know, it's just weird. I did see this week, like tying into that there was a report that it was like, it said about 1 million users on PlayStation play 100% of their gaming time only on Call of Duty. So that may be why they're fighting so hard.
Jeez, wow,
Yeah. So about a million PlayStation people are literally only playing Call of Duty.
that's insane.
And I know a lot of people play, like I know people who only play Call of Duty and
Yeah,
that's it. Like maybe occasionally they'll play, like usually it's a sports game, right? So like, oh, I play
yeah,
Call of Duty in Madden, or I play Call of Duty in 2K. That's usually what it is. But when I saw that, I was like, all right, that makes a little bit more sense why Sony is fighting so hard. Cause like to lose potentially a million customers from a merger that's a lot of money.
yeah. That is. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
consoles,
Mm-hmm.
million times 500, or 450 or 400 for
Yeah.
each console, plus the
Yep.
game, plus the accessories, plus the memberships. Like, it's
Yep.
millions of dollars.
But the thing is like what I always think in my head is Microsoft has already said that they're not going to prevent Call of Duty from being on PlayStation,
Yeah.
right? So you're not going to
100.
lose those people. They're still going to play it on your console. You just might not get the maps first anymore. What do they still
Yeah.
get the maps first? I don't
No,
think so.
no,
Okay.
that's not anything that happens anymore. But I know it used to.
Yeah, it used to be because I always buy it on Xbox, and I was always like, oh, I don't. I would go to get the maps and be like, oh, wait, I have to wait 60 days or 30
Yeah.
days or whatever, and I just waited. But yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is, I'm ready for it to be over.
As am I. But I'm interested to see what the result comes out as.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like anybody can really make heads or tails of what's going to be decided.
Mm-hmm.
The judge did mention, like, what about this Thor game in reference to God of War of Ragnarok?
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun stuff like that I get to read with the Verge. So I've said enough with that, but if you want to read about it, definitely go to the Verge. Their reporting has been phenomenal on the FTC versus Xbox here. So keep that in mind. It is a fun thing to read and to watch, especially if you're into gaming.
Right.
But
Anything
that's all I
else?
have for news.
Okay. I have a couple here. First one, the developer of the Lord of the Rings Gollum game that we all love, Daedalic.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it.
Earlier this week, they laid off some people, and then they said that the production on the next Lord of the Rings game was canceled. Now they're saying that this company is done making games
That
completely.
it is amazing. It is
Yeah,
amazing what one game will do to a company.
Oof. Like just completely burned it to the ground with this game. Wild. Um, I mean, it is a bad game. I did play it. It's just sad to me that like all these people are going to lose their jobs because of a game that probably shouldn't have come out or at least been postponed another year or two.
Yeah, like the Suicide Squad, How to Kill the Justice League is not, afraid to continue to delay and
Mm-hmm.
delay and delay and delay to make sure that it comes out right. Where Gollum was a weird game to begin with. Like, very rarely do we see like stealth simulator games for the most part, which is what Gollum
Right.
was trying to be. Gollum's not a physical prowess to be, threatened by. He's just something, my precious ring, give me my ring, blah blah blah, and gets a
Yep.
little crazy sometimes in the head. But yeah, like it I hope that these developers like can just go on to like find better and newer and good jobs. Hopefully, people that treat them right. Just because also, like you had to have known when
Mm-hmm.
you release this game, like what the reception is going to be for it. I would have a hard time believing anybody on that team looked at that game and went, this is what we dreamed of 4 years ago when we first showed the game off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're all maybe not embarrassed, but knew that they needed more time for sure.
Yeah.
Next one, the Brander Group, also earlier this week filed a restraining order against EA for the college football game with the names, the trying to get more money for the athletes. That restraining order got denied.
Yep.
So just like we talked about before, this thing is going full speed ahead, whether they pay for these names or they go with numbers. And I thought it was interesting they tried a restraining order. We all knew that wasn't going to work. So I think I was a little bit like, oh man, if this delays the game, I swear to God, but apparently we're still on track for now.
Good. That's what I want to hear. Like, for the most
Yep.
part, like, this player stuff is kind of all over the place, and yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but this also helps like the sport, like to
Mm-hmm.
have college football game back into people's hands. So I don't know. It's a world where everybody only cares about how much money they're making and how they're profiting off of what their likeness and things like that. So it's nice to see that thing got like denied.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, but like as you said, hopefully it just doesn't. We don't have too many more setbacks or hiccups while making the
Yeah.
game.
I feel like they're going to find some other motion to file somewhere
That's
down the
what it feels
line.
like. Yeah, like it's
Hmm.
just never gonna end.
Yep.
The game will
But I
be
think,
done, and they
yep.
have to fight litigation or something.
But it's EA and they have a huge team of lawyers, I'm sure. And I find it really weird and gross that I'm like almost rooting for EA on this one.
Yeah,
It, eh,
it does feel a little weird.
I don't know how I feel about that, but I just really want to play the game. That's all.
Yeah, college
So
football.
this other report I thought was interesting, and I had different emotions on this one. So we'll see what you think. The next gen Nintendo console supposedly will have power equal to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, my first reaction was, ugh, we're still going to be below. But then I thought about portable. We're talking
Yeah,
about the power of a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One handheld. I'm okay with that. That's
yeah.
still 1080p, potentially could be 4K, maybe. But you okay with that, or do you want more power?
I guess it depends. Like, is it the power of a PS4 in handheld, or and
Mm-hmm.
does it get like much like how when you plug in the Switch into the dock, it boosts up the frame rate and resolution?
Right.
If it does something like that, I am a okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something where like when you plug it in, it's more like a PS4 or Xbox One, and then when you go handheld, it's back to kind of being a lesser console. That's where I'd kind of be like,
Yeah.
I'd like a bigger upgrade. But yet again, we should be used to this as Nintendo fans. Like this is
Yeah.
it'll always be like one or two generations behind whatever Sony or Microsoft are doing.
Well, the other thing too is it depends on when it comes out. Because if this doesn't come out until Microsoft and Sony are working, are ready to release their next console, then it's too late.
Yeah,
Then you're way far behind again. But if this is coming out in a year or two, that might be a sweet spot to be like, yeah, it's lower, but maybe we're doing 1080p 60 1080p 30 in
yeah.
handheld locked, like, okay. But when I dock it, maybe it's 1080 60. I could go for a Zelda or a Mario in 1080p.
So could I. Just like better running games in general too.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
take that.
exactly. And the last one I have is another clarification on what I talked about last week. Starfield is now going to have a physical disc. So they heard the cries. Not
Yes.
in the PC version, but the console versions will have a physical disc. So they put it out there. Everybody got really angry and they went, hold on, we'll make the disc. Relax.
Give us the disc.
But again, who's buying it if it's on Game Pass? Like, I don't I don't know of anybody who would. But I guess maybe if you just really want that physical disc copy of it, I guess.
There are definitely millions of people who prefer to have like the disc just because also you have to worry about like download speeds and things like that.
Hmm.
There's a lot of this world that does not have the download speeds that,
You're probably still gonna
most
have
of
to download it though, even
Yeah,
with the
there'll definitely
disc.
be a download for
Yeah.
sure. Um it's just a matter of maybe like people, you can't afford Game Pass, but if you save up your money, for a couple months you'll have enough for Starfield, things like that. So I am glad that they are doing a disc just because it is again like physical, something in your hand,
Yep.
which is what I prefer my software to be.
Agreed. But I don't think any of us here, including Craig, who's not here, would buy this game. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
We have.
I
I don't
think
have.
if it
No.
wasn't on Game Pass, I would. But it's
Really?
on Game Pass. Yeah, I think I
Okay.
would. I am interested enough in it to have bought it without it being on Game Pass, but it's going to be on Game Pass, so I don't need to buy it.
Okay.
Deal.
This is a side note, and I just thought of it, so I'll bring this up real quick. But
Yeah,
did you see the Barbie cars that are going into Forza Horizon?
I did not.
Okay, so there's to promote the movie, among other things, like there is a giveaway for you can get a Barbie themed Xbox and controllers, which I think is kind of cool. But they did add I think two cars into Forza Horizon, and I saw the little ad for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I almost reinstalled Forza Horizon because I was like, man, it's been a long time since I've played that game, and they
Oh
look
yeah,
pretty cool.
no, that is a yeah.
Yeah.
That's a callback though. The Corvette that she drives, and then like
Yep.
the I I don't know what that huge truck in the
I
back
think it's
is.
Ken's truck.
Ken drives a truck. I didn't know he drove a
I think he
truck.
does in the movie. I mean,
Oh,
I'm like super excited for the movie. I think it looks hilarious. Um, so I don't know, like there's just something what stopped me from reinstalling it this week was I remembered it's like 130 gigs.
that is
And I
true.
was like, oh man, that's why I uninstalled it in the first place. Um, but yeah, I might still reinstall it just to kind of mess around with it a little bit because it's been a long time and I love that game.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I definitely think it'll be fun. And I did now I'm jumping more aside to add on to your thing.
Yes.
What do you think what do you think about like the Barbie Heimer like stuff going on? Like
Oh yeah.
it is kind of funny
Yeah.
to see all of this, but I hope the Barbie movie does well. Like this is enough of a different kind of movie where
Mm-hmm.
really all anybody will watch is superhero stuff. Oppenheimer was going to do numbers no matter what. You know,
Yep.
it has a very acclaimed director to it, but the Barbie movie is definitely like the biggest like the highest volatile thing on whether or
Right.
not it makes millions or whether or not it doesn't like at all.
And then you also have off to the side, you have Tom Cruise complaining because he wants to make sure his Mission Impossible is in IMAX, but also you have Oppenheimer, which is going to be in IMAX, and I think they're a week apart. I
Yes.
think.
Yep. Yep.
Me personally, I plan on seeing the Barbie movie in theaters, and I'm probably going to watch Oppenheimer at home, unless like it just comes out and everybody's like, "This is the most amazing movie." Maybe then I go see it. But I'm more excited to see Barbie. Honestly, I think it just looks insanely hilarious.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to both. I will probably see both in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like definitely like Oppenheimer's my type of movie. It's
Yeah.
where Barbie is kind of like we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Like it does look funny, and that's like the biggest point of it is I think to get people to go out. It's not people hear Barbie and they think girly. It doesn't
Right.
necessarily need to be a girly movie. It can be funny. It can be girly. It can be anything it needs to be to get eyes on it. And I like
Yeah.
the advertising campaign. It's like even if you hate Barbie, go and see
Yep.
the movie. Like there's something here for you too.
Yeah. Just looks like phenomenally well done. Like I'm super excited for that movie for sure.
Yeah, and the Dua
Um,
Lipa song's good.
yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have for news.
Video games this week then.
Yeah. What do you got?
Update. I finally played Final Fantasy 16. I finally have it.
Yes.
Uh I'm a couple hours into it. If without like spoiling anything, I know who's in the hooded like who wears the
Okay.
hood.
Yep.
I guess that's where I'm at in the campaign, and I did a little bit afterward in that open area before
Okay.
going to the next mission there. And I know I'm fairly early.
Hmm.
Um, but what did you play?
More Final Fantasy, not as much as I would have liked. I think I was at what like 5 hours last week. I think I'm probably at I'm gonna say 10 to 12
Okay,
ish, somewhere around there. Um, Also, I played Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. That dropped on Game Pass. That's a game I've had my eye
Int-
on for a while, and
interesting.
I saw it kind of get shadow dropped on Game Pass, and I was like, I'm gonna check that out. And then I fell into the hype, and I picked up Only Up.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm. So I've been
I'm
playing that
interested.
too.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how you feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
That game's different.
Yeah, it is.
I guess. Yeah, I guess for the most part, what I'll talk about too is like I got the Gold Cup is going on in the United States right now, and this happens every time where the Gold Cup's on. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna play FIFA. So then I
Mm-hmm.
downloaded FIFA the other day and started playing as Costa Rica because they're in the World Cup update from Qatar earlier in 2022. So I like, I definitely like the small things that I'm able to do in FIFA. But FIFA is still the same game I played um, at this point 10 years ago. It feels
Yeah,
like there's no great overhaul that changes everything, but that's just that's just an update on how FIFA's doing for me. I do enjoy playing as Costa Rica. Do you want to talk about Final Fantasy 16, or would you prefer to talk about only Up?
I don't care. I mean, if you want to talk about it, we can.
Okay, so
So
let's
you're
go.
like 4 to 5 hours in, you think?
I think so. I think probably a little less,
Okay,
um,
counting the
but
demo.
counting the demo. Okay, so counting the demo, yeah,
Okay,
probably 4 or 5,
okay,
for sure. I I know what you mean by this isn't a typical like Final
right.
Fantasy game. I enjoyed that it's not a typical one, but I can't help but feel like I miss like the old Final Fantasy
Mhm.
games. I can't help but like play this game and I'm like, this is fun and I'm having a great time with this game. I enjoy Final Fantasy 16, but I sometimes feel like, and I've been thinking about it, playing 13 too again,
Mm,
and like playing that kind of classical, more older style of Final Fantasy just because I miss it.
yeah.
Um, a lot of the other games don't like do what Final Fantasy did for like turn based and things like that. So, I miss that, but the combat is fun here. I have, now another icon's power that I could use. And I really do enjoy like the Kingdom Hearts combat. And that's what I'm gonna explain it as. Like I get it. People aren't the biggest fan of the whole four combo square thing. But as you continue to go on, it gets a little bit deeper. But
Yep.
this feels like an evolution of Kingdom Hearts combat in a way. And for me, I'm okay with it. I enjoy it just because for me, it's very interactive. The only thing that I can say that I do have trouble with sometimes in this game is there's so much stuff going on in the screen that I can't tell what the enemy's doing, so I can't dodge.
Yep.
Like there were, and there's this one fight with the first Dragoon Lancer that you have to face. I died to him multiple times just because like he's winding up, but I can't see he's winding up an attack because Sid's doing lightning, my dog's jumping trying to bite his throat off, and I have fire particles going everywhere. So
Yep.
it's like there's so much, and it's a very pretty game. There's so much going on the screen sometimes that I don't know what's going on. So sometimes I die.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like now that I've played more, granted it's not like a lot more, but now that I'm farther into the story, and I have a third power now, I think it's hooked me in, and I've like accepted that it's not Final Fantasy. I enjoy the Final Fantasy things that show up. There is when you go back to like your safe haven or your town or whatever, there's
Yeah.
a person that you can talk to, and you like tell them your adventures, and it raises a level. Like the fact that when you're doing that, the level bar is the level bar from Final Fantasy 7,
Hmm.
and it has like the little like 2bit characters or 8-bit characters,
Yeah.
and when you save the 8-bit characters, like I enjoy that. um and now that like for me there's um side missions, main missions, there's the board to go hunt animals, kind of like Monster Hunter.
Oh,
They
okay.
throw that in there, and I'm like,
Ooh.
oh, I feel like I'm starting to get to the point where I've done every side mission that's popped up, and they're starting to like throw a lot more at me, and I'm like, oh my god, but like the good thing is they never take very long. Like those side
Yeah.
missions are like 10 minutes tops. You go do the thing, you're done. I appreciate that, other than like, oh, this side mission's going to take me an hour or 2 hours. And I feel like the return is good on the side missions. I just did a side mission that gave me the ability to ride a chocobo now in the world. Huge, like that's huge. I
Yeah.
feel like you run slow in this game. There's like that, you start off slow and then after a little bit he speeds up. I hate that. Like just let me run
It
fast.
looks so funny, like to
Yeah.
me, but it like yeah, he's like it's like he suddenly decided he's gonna speed up and run like a
Hmm.
weirdo. It's what it feels like. It's funny.
Yeah.
I enjoy the funniness of it, but I
Hmm.
agree. It's only on very particular things too. Like you have to be in like the small open world
Right.
in order to do it. But the moment you enter like a narrowed area in that same world, he stops running altogether. Like
Yep.
it's back to the walking speed sort of deal.
there's um there's some things I don't like that they've put in there. There is a person that will show up later in your town that you well, it'll show up as an icon, and it'll be like the little circle next to it, like, oh, there's something new, and it's literally like a history lesson. I'm like, I
Oh,
don't,
okay.
I don't want I don't care. And they'll be like, this is what's going on with this kingdom. This is what's going on with this kingdom. Like, I don't care. Just let me play. It's an added thing, I guess, if you really want that backstory, like a Game of Thrones style. I just don't. So like I tend to like I'll go do it, but I'll like speed mash X through it because I'm just like, I don't need this. Let me just play. There is a lot of cutscenes, a lot. I feel like more than actually playing, but it gets better, at least for me, as I went along. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like it's like you're watching cutscenes and you're waiting for another big boss battle. Really,
Mhm.
is like that's what you're doing. Um, I do kind of like you. You're thinking about playing 13 too. I was yesterday. I was at like the retro store we have here locally, and they had a copy of Final Fantasy 3 for Super Nintendo for like $60, and I was like, you know, like I was looking at it, like, oh, I
Yeah.
could play an old Final Fantasy style game right now. But I still think I'm gonna play through the whole thing. I'm having fun. I don't hate it. It's just you have to change your mind, be like, this isn't my normal Final Fantasy that I'm used to.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't have to wait. Like I do miss like the old Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
so I hope that that's something that can come back, and this
And we
isn't
have
going
the
to be.
remake, right? Like
Yeah,
that's coming out what, next year? Early
yeah, it's
next
supposed.
year.
Yeah, it's supposed to be early next year. Yeah,
So
so
that hopefully that's more of the old style. The last
yeah,
one was. So maybe that's what we need, and then they stick with that for the old style, and maybe this is the new direction for Final Fantasy. That's fine if you want to do that. But yeah, I even looked at I have Final Fantasy 13 just installed on my Xbox. I was
yeah,
like, ooh, I could play that too.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, and it's funny because I do wanna commend Square Enix for letting the Final Fantasy team like maybe spread its wings a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I complain about how Pokemon Company has been forced to really do the same thing for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there really is no like other than Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like all a lot of it is the same. So I do have to give it to them to not just be stuck in the mud and do what they know works.
Right.
They tried this new combat thing. They hired on, the Devil May Cry director for combat. They let other Square Enix studios develop certain sections of the game. I have to say, like, as much as I do enjoy that it's refreshing, and
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. Like, it's not just the same old Fantasy I've been playing. It's adapted and it's grown. Um,
Right.
I did want to mention too, just before like I lose track of this thought here. I really do think the only reason that active time lore thing is as popular as it is because I have no idea what's going on in these other
Yep.
kingdoms. Like in Game of Thrones, which is definitely heavily inspired by
Mm-hmm.
this you know, Final Fantasy here. Like they take time to like cut away to another kingdom for an entire episode and then they bring you back to, your main character Starks, for
Yep.
example. So when the paths cross, you have an idea of what's happening and why it's happening, where you get a very small cutscene that's like maybe 30 seconds long that like updates you on what the Kingdom of Wayland is doing, and you need to press that active time lore to figure out. Okay, I haven't seen this guy in like 3 hours. Who is he again? He looks like
Mm-hmm.
Clive. Does everyone look like Clive? So
Yes.
it's
They do add like those cutscenes of other kingdoms do get longer
okay. So you
as you
kind of
go
learn
on.
more.
Like
Yeah,
right, because like like you'll finish like maybe like a boss battle or something, and then you'll get the meanwhile in so and so kingdom, and then it'll be like, oh, there's this battle going on. Oh, I don't know who that person is. Let me hit this real quick. Okay, I know who this is
exactly.
now, and
Yep.
then you're back. But they do, I think, do a better job. If you have two powers now, right?
Yes, I
You
have
have
two.
fire and the second power.
Yeah,
Trying not to
Wind,
spoil
Garuda.
things. Wind. Yep.
It's
Yeah. Whatever. So you did that boss battle then,
yes.
which was
I
fun.
do have. It is so much fun. I'm really
Yeah.
surprised with how much I enjoyed it. Like I I did think like the battle with Benedicta because it is in the demo, like you kind of
Hmm?
find out okay, like it wasn't too difficult,
Right.
but the moment where you're playing as regular Clive and she's playing and like you're facing off against Garuda like was the most fun I'd had.
Mm-hmm.
In like a boss battle, and maybe it's just because they make you so small versus like Garuda, who is this gigantic like harpy
Right.
looking thing. And then even then, the moment you have your icon battle where it's Garuda versus Ifrit, that's just fun because it's very simple button presses, but man, is it flashy? Is
Mm-hmm.
it there?
Yep.
It's like watching a power fantasy anime sort of in a way, where it's just like these two gigantic beasts destroying the world around them, and like the moment you see Rumon, and Sid do his lightning stuff,
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that
Yep.
was cool. Um, so it's like there are these, and you said it, you're just kind of waiting for your next huge boss
Yeah.
battle, and you're kind of traveling to that. Um, I will admit I am starting to get into the combat a little bit more, but I have a feeling once I get to the third power, like you have,
Yeah.
um, it's gonna open up a lot more. Again,
Yeah.
like very Kingdom Hearts.
Um, and again, like I don't want to spoil anything for people, including you. Once you get that third power, and you're doing like that, your next boss, right? That you're coming up to, um, there is like every Final Fantasy has had limit breaks, right?
Yeah.
That's like been a standard. Um, Once that gets introduced to you, like the limit break system, which is I'm glad they included it. To me, that's where you had to like the limit break and the cutscene of Clive getting the limit break, and he looks like he's powering up in Dragon Ball Z. That's where I literally had to like, you're either gonna fully buy into this over the top anime style boss battle or you're not. And when I hit that point and he started doing that, that in my mind where I went, this might be a top 5 game of the year. It
Oh,
just might
cool.
be
All
because
right.
like
I'm
I
looking
was
forward to
fully
it.
in.
Yeah.
I'm full. I was like, I'm 100% in. This is so stupid. And like we've been so serious with this Game of Thrones style, and then all of a sudden he's powering up like Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, I'm in. Yeah, we're good. We're gonna do that. And I was like, yeah, this might be a top 5. Then it might. I wasn't sure before, but I think once you get to that point, that's when I think I really started enjoying it more. And you're not that far off. I just enjoy that they keep adding stuff. Like every time
Yep.
I play, every couple hours, I'm like, oh, here's something else. I've almost 100% given up on trying to do anything with the dog because like you have to hit left on the d-pad and then hit a button to get to control the dog. It's just too much when you're trying to throw potions on yourself. Most of the time I don't even do anything with the dog because I have 3 different powers now that I'm cycling through plus my limit break. I'm just like, I don't even want to mess with the dog. And I know you can put a ring on to have it control itself, but like I want those spots for
Yeah. You
to
don't want
boost
to.
up my
Yeah. You don't want to.
stats.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So for me, I'm just like the dog's cool and everything, but I don't feel like he does enough damage for me to even really worry about using anymore.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've like went to like make the dog attack and then I use a potion.
Yep.
Like it's just like that stuff, or I go to use a potion and then the dog attacks and then I die,
Yep.
sort of that sort of thing. I I do know that there is a system with the dog that is going to continue to like power him up, but
Right.
I don't necessarily understand it yet. Do I have to pet the dog and the dog like powers up
I
and
don't
things
know.
like
Mine
that?
hasn't gone up either.
That's what I mean. Like I just
Yeah.
don't know what the dog wants me to do because it if I could level up its heal, I'd feel a lot like it'd definitely be cool. Like I'd definitely be
His
all
heel's
about it.
terrible.
Exactly. His heal
It's
is
awful.
terrible.
Yeah.
So it's it's that kind of thing where it's like, how do I level up him? Like, he's been the companion for the entire. He's your companion for most of the game, if
Mm-hmm.
not all of it. Should be a way to level him up somewhat, but I just don't know. It's if you is it through petting him? Do I just need to spend 30 minutes pressing the triangle button to pet Torgal to see if he
Yeah.
gets to the next level of friendship, quote unquote? So,
I
sounds like
assumed like when I looked at it, I was just assuming he would grow as the story progressed.
that's what I
And
would. That's what you think.
because yeah, because I tried petting him a bunch. I was like, oh, this isn't moving. I was like, oh, maybe you got to use him more in combat. That really doesn't seem to affect anything. So I'm just gonna assume as I go along, he'll get stronger. I guess
Or we're gonna find out we gotta feed him dog treats and stuff
or
like that.
something.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
something weird.
Take him to the groomer or something.
Imagine you can change like the shape of Torgal. Like he's not just like that, big gigantic dog. You can change him to like be a poodle or something
That
like
would be
that.
hilarious.
Yeah, that's what they should be doing. Is like just have skins for Torgal, so you can make him a German Shepherd or something like
They heard
that.
you. They're going to be working on it now. DLC.
To be fair,
Change him.
people would probably feel more like connected to it. Oh,
Yeah.
the dog I have is a husky mix. If I could, and Torgal's pretty much a husky in a way. So,
Mm-hmm.
if they could make it, if you could like change his color to make him look more like your dog, that just makes it more personal for you.
True.
It's not a bad idea.
I'd actually probably be into that.
Yeah, why Square wouldn't, Square's got to call me up.
Yeah, they do.
These ideas are just for free, I guess.
But yeah, that's it's a good game. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to. I always like I want to play more. I always think about playing more, but obviously as adults, we're always like, there's stuff I need to get done. So I'm not as far along as I plan. I have a couple of days off in a row now with the holiday
Word.
weekend, so I want to put in some time. Um, I don't know. I mean, we all know Craig's gonna have this done probably by next podcast. I feel like he's like way out in front of us.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like the main
Mm-hmm.
thing there is he like because he's gone camping.
Yep.
How is he? How long has he gone camping for? And plus, like, did he buy one of those portable PS5 like screen things that you just shove your PlayStation into and you can play it? I'd like to see him do that. That'd be funny if he did.
That would be really
Um,
cool.
but then he'd be skipping on the homework assignment I set him up for.
Yes.
So we will see. But I wanna hear about Only Up.
Okay.
That
Um,
that's the game that I continue to see on my YouTube feed.
dude, Only Up is dominating streaming right now, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
so I've watched a couple people play streamer wise. Like I watched Doctor Disrespect has been playing it all week. Tim the Tap Man's been playing it all week. I think everybody has been playing it. It seemed like fun enough of a game that I was like, I should probably check it out. Well, I went and
Yeah.
found it on Steam and it was like $10 and it's on sale right now for like $6. And I was like, you know what? That's fair. I'm having a blast playing it. I enjoy like I don't get heated because the way I play it is like I'll get on and like the way the game works for people who don't know, you're literally just trying to get to the top. You're climbing stuff, and if you fall, there's no checkpoint. You can fall all the way back down to the bottom, and like your hour of progress is gone. There's no saving, nothing. Every time you turn the game off, you're all the way down at the bottom. I look at it as like when my kid was little, she played Roblox a lot, and in
Yeah.
Roblox they had the obbies, which were pretty much the same thing. It was like objects you had to jump on and complete. So I was like, oh, this is a Roblox game to me. So I play it. I'll get on and I'll play and I'll do like a run. And if I fall, I just stop. And I'm like, all right, I'll try it later. I'll try it tomorrow. I think I probably have a good 5 or 6 hours in it already, and I'm
Cool.
having a blast. Like I think it's a little clunky to control, but I don't think it's unfair. And I just find it like extremely entertaining. It's more entertaining to watch people get mad at this game.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where the entertainment is. And maybe once, like if I do manage to beat it, then I'll be like, I don't need to play this anymore. Judging off of it, only has like one achievement on Steam, and it's just for beating it, and it's at like 9% right now. So it's a hard game.
Yeah.
I'm determined to beat it at some point. That's my goal. But yeah, I think it's just a ton of fun. Hats off to who I don't even know who made it. If it was one person or a team, I don't know. But yeah, for $6, you're gonna get a decent amount of time out of it, probably, unless you just beat it in one try, which I don't believe.
That would be hard. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess the main thing is this game gives me a lot of getting over it.
Yep.
Where you're that guy in the pot, and then if you mess up being that guy in the pot, you're just gonna fall all the way down. And
Yep.
it didn't help that does this game have commentary like Getting Over It does, or is it just
Kind
strictly
of.
music?
Certain spots they'll have like they're using like that AI generated voice.
Okay.
But like they have one that plays at the beginning, so like when you fall, like the music starts playing again, and it's like irritating. And then it does like like the best part about uh going up is you can always try again, like that kind of stuff, and you're like, shut up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. That I mean, that's there for a reason. That's to make you mad. But
Yeah.
yeah, every like certain amount you get up, you'll have like some sort of pre-recorded thing that'll play. It's trying to give you like a backstory, but nobody really cares.
Yeah.
You're just there to climb. But yeah, I don't. I feel like we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't be surprised if this snuck in somewhere at the end of the year.
it, it's a unique game.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it feels like it's not as big as Among Us,
Right.
where it was just one of those games where it's not as serious as like Final Fantasy or God of War.
Mm-hmm.
It's just go up and
Yeah.
and play it. I admit I'm the same boat as you are. I just enjoy watching people play it
Yeah.
just because it's the kind of thing where I'm seeing how the game works, and also people are like, oh, maybe I should try this like speed run tactic, and then
Yep.
it fails, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're mad that they tried a speed run tactic when they could have just taken the long way. So
Yeah. I think that's where it shines. Like there's beds that like if you jump on, you'll get a big boost and you can jump, but they're always a risk. So you
Yeah.
look at it and you're like, oh, I could jump that and skip this really hard portion, but if I miss that bed, I'm going all the way back down. Like that's where the real fun is. I'm gonna be interested to see like whoever made this game, like, can they capitalize it, right? Like, are they gonna make another map?
Yeah. Go
Like,
up too.
right. Like, I mean, I feel like they got to be working on one already, or like, what do you do to keep people interested in this game? Because as of right now, like these streamers, when they beat it, they're not really playing it again.
Yeah.
So I know it's
Unless
only
they're
10,
trying to speed run. Yeah.
right? And I know it's only $10, so like that's fine. But like, if you want people to be interested in you and continue to be, you need to be making another map, another course, change some things around to keep people like coming back. And I think they have a gold mine here. They could be making a ton of money.
I agree.
Yeah.
What
And
was the
then
other one?
Fist, Forged in
Fist.
Shadow Torch. That's a name.
It's
um,
the one with a bunny, and
yeah,
it's like
you're
an
a
old
bunny
bunny and with
in
a
a metal
mechanical arm.
suit. Yep. Yeah, it's all animals in this game. The story's weird. Your friend gets captured and you're trying to go rescue him. I want to say it's like its origin is either Chinese, Japanese, I'm not sure, but like the translation isn't always that great in the dialogue. Um,
Okay.
but I was unaware it's like a Castlevania style game at heart. I did
Yeah.
not know
Yep.
that. But I'm having fun. Like it's the combat's good. You can combo. The combos are great. Like you can do like a 3 hit and an uppercut, and then I can grab them and throw them off the wall and hit them again and grab them and throw them that way. Like it's pretty cool how like you can pull off like 15, 20 hit combos on these enemies. Um, and I don't think it's tough, but it's not unfair. And for me, like I don't usually get into Castlevania style games where I'm like, oh, I can't go here yet because I got to get this upgrade. I usually I'm like, nope, I'm out. But for whatever reason with this one, I'm like enjoying myself. So yeah, this is a great find on Game Pass for me. One I'll probably end up sticking with. I mean, I have that and still trying to get through Yakuza.
Yeah.
That's still hanging around and Final Fantasy. But luckily, I don't think there's anything really coming out the next couple weeks, right?
Yeah. Really, Exo Primal is is
Right,
there.
which is on Game Pass.
Pikmin 4 is
Mm-hmm.
now is later this month as well. So no, you're right. Like it's a bad year for backlogs, but right now is the time to work through them.
But
I know
yeah,
Fist kind of came out to a lukewarm reception,
right.
because that came out around the time Biomutant did.
Mm-hmm.
Two very weird animal centric games, I'll call them.
Right.
So just we'll keep that in mind. I'm glad you like it. I
Perfect
don't
Game
know.
Pass game.
Yeah, perfect. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
perfect Game
Because if you
Pass.
bounce off it, so be it. You're not going to lose any money on yourself. But I mean, my focus first and foremost is Final Fantasy right now. But I don't want to forget about this game as well. Like I want to give it its
Yeah, of
fair
course.
due. I don't feel like it's going to be that long of a game. So maybe like 5 to 10 hours, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. You want to get into what we watched this week then?
sure, we can do that.
I'm not sure if I got into it last week, but I did watch Extraction 2.
Okay, yeah, I don't think you did.
I don't believe I did either. I finished High Rise Invasion.
Yes.
I finished I finished it the other week, but like the Demon Slayer season finale. If people want to talk about that a little bit, I'm not
Mhm.
sure if I mentioned it last week either. Um, and then I have to talk about like my favorite anime of this season, which has been Gundam Witch from Mercury.
Okay, a lot of
Just
anime, huh?
just yeah, just finish up. I didn't
Okay.
get to go see Elemental, and we are on the cusp of Barbieheimer. Here in
Hmm.
a couple weeks. I do plan on going to see Elemental,
I
so we
feel like
will.
Elemental is going to be on Disney Plus soon, anyway.
Then good for me.
Yeah,
I won't have to worry
that's what
about
I'm
it.
waiting for.
Okay. Hopefully it is. Maybe I'll reconsider it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you watch?
So I finished The Bear. I know, like
Good.
I was close. I had like 2 more episodes last week. And then I know we haven't talked about it at all, but Secret Invasion.
Okay, yeah, I have watched the first two episodes as
Okay.
well.
Yep. Just like a quick how we feel so far. And I don't
Mhm.
remember. Did I bring up Polite Society yet?
No.
Okay, so I had that as well.
All right, man. We're all over the place today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's talk about the bear because we did
Okay.
talk about that
Yes.
last week. Now, what are your feelings? That's what I want to know.
So, and I mean, we'll just say we can just say spoilers, right? Because we've both
Yeah.
seen it.
Yep.
Um, so I finished it. Like we recorded last Sunday. I think I finished it Monday morning.
Yeah.
My initial reactions was I did not like it. Was not a fan of the season as an entirety. Now my wife has. I watched it without her, so she's been watching it this week, and I watched it again with
Mm.
her, and my feelings have changed. Um, I think it's a. I still think the first season's better, but I think the season is extremely good. Now that
Yeah.
I've like watched it again, um, I love Richie.
Yep.
I think Richie is like his arc is fantastic.
Yep.
Especially at like that end episode where he figures out his purpose. Was
Yeah.
fantastic. Um, Overall, like yeah, I'm not a big fan of all the open-ended things going on at the end of the season. Like everybody has a million things
That
like what is going on?
that's
You
my
know,
thing too.
obviously setting up for a third season. I get that. But like I my initial reaction was like, man, we didn't get closure on anything
Yep.
at all.
Yep.
Like technically the restaurant's not even open yet at
Yeah.
all. Like they had their their dry run, their soft open, but yeah, it's not even technically open yet. But I think Richie is great. I enjoyed Carmi's arc, even though it's
Yeah.
weird. Like the only person I didn't like was and I don't know why I'm blanking on her, but his
Sydney.
partner Sydney. I don't like her.
Okay.
My issue being is that I feel like this whole season, I get her thing of like she's trying to come up with this menu, and Carmi's never there. He's not helping her because he's off with his girlfriend. But I was getting annoyed with her constantly getting an attitude, and in my mind, I'm like, it's not your restaurant. This is
Yeah.
not your restaurant. This is Carmi's restaurant. You are helping him, but at the end of the day, you have no stake in this. You're not putting any money in. Like it's all on Carmi, right? Other than she's not getting paid, right? Like she's not getting paid. But I don't know. I just looked at it. I was like, she was kind of like a brat to me, and everything was like, why isn't anybody listening to me? And just the constant, even that last episode, man, they were like the attitude is insane. Just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I thought it was hilarious. They left him in the walk-in freezer.
Yeah.
There's like, you know what? You're stuck.
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so for the most part for me, like I actually did like Sydney's like arc a little bit more because I feel her frustration. Like I think
Sure.
that's what she's meant to be like, is the
Mm-hmm.
fact that like Carmi should be focusing like on the restaurant. And yes, he deserves to have a personal life, but you have to
Right.
find that balance in
Mm-hmm.
which the point of this season is that he doesn't have the balance.
Yep.
He starts neglecting what Sydney wants to do, and she also, I think Sydney's big thing is that she sees Carmi as like this idol,
Mm-hmm.
and she just wants his help. She just wants his opinion because I know you're saying she doesn't have any stake in it, but she does mention like if this doesn't work out because she's failed so
Mm-hmm.
many times before, it means she's done. And for somebody who I guess for her character, like this is it for her. This has to work, or she's done cooking and trying to
Yeah.
be a professional chef. So maybe that's where they're going. I and let me just put it. I personally would have liked it to end a little bit on a better note. And I know they're trying to do season three, and you could still do a season three, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna paint a picture for you as to how I would have written the finale
Sure.
without changing too much. I still think you do the thing with the dessert chef's mother. Right
Yeah.
at the end there, you start getting like that is a good enough cliffhanger to let you know there's more coming. I I think me personally, what I wish they would have done with Carmi is he has all of like this like worrying about everything messing up because he's not running it. My version of the finale there would have been he gets out of the freezer and everything's fine.
Yep. I agree.
And then he starts to worry, wait, I'm not even needed
Yep.
kind of deal. And then you have the self-doubt and he still doesn't have to worry about his girlfriend. That's how I would have written it
Yep.
just because like you still get enough for another season, but I didn't need, yeah, like the dessert chef thing I think is good there. They've been kind of pushing toward that the entire season. That made sense. but
Hmm.
Carmi's kind of self-destruction kind of comes out of nowhere in a
Hmm.
way where everything's going good for him and things like that. But then like to have him monologuing to himself in a walk-in refrigerator about him blaming himself because I should have never gotten a girlfriend. My girlfriend messed me up. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
Like he's always been so like I guess self-deprecating. Like he's always been like that. So then he starts to like blame himself because he got a girlfriend. Like he I think my version of the ending I think would have left people more satisfied with it.
I agree.
Just because like all we've ever seen is like without Carmi, like everything falls apart. And then to like him he walks out of the freezer, Richie's like, yeah, everything's good. And Sydney's like, yeah, everything's good. That would have been the ending I wanted. Just because then like you can still go and do another season, but we don't leave off on these four different tree, four different paths that still need to be explained or looked into.
Yeah. No, I thought the same thing. I thought him getting out and him realizing that everything was fine would have been perfect. I don't know, him like ruining it with his girlfriend. I was like, okay. And I think it leaves you in that perfect ending arc for Richie. Like he figured out what his purpose in the restaurant is at the
Yeah,
end there. Like he took over and he got it. Like that, it makes sense to him. He knows how to do it. I thought him sending the chocolate covered banana to his uncle was fantastic. Like remembering that kind of stuff. Like that was perfect.
yeah.
But yeah, I think there's just a lot going on. A lot. Almost too much.
Yeah, and I guess in the ending, I guess I would have liked the mother to to come out. Natalie would have
Hmm.
gotten that like chance with her mother, but then Carmi, who's stuck in a refrigerator, doesn't get to have that
Yeah.
like sort of portion there. So maybe like they could have done so many different things, and I wish they would have done something different. Like season one felt like it could have been finished, but you gave us a second season that was pretty good. I enjoyed the second season. I
Hmm.
just wish we got the same feeling at this one,
Yeah.
where again Carmi just should have walked out of that refrigerator, realized everything was fine, and then cut to black, or he starts crying. I Either way,
Right.
I
Right.
think would have been fine for an ending there. But yeah, you're right. Still, the Bear season two, excellent, excellent
Hmm.
show. It'll definitely be somewhere in my top 10.
Yeah, I think
Season
so
two
too.
is season two's big. Um, High Rise Invasion. I'll go ahead and
Get
swing into
yourself
Barry's
closer to
anime
God.
corner. Yeah. Um, Overall, like I remember watching the first two episodes and being like, okay, this is just fan service in a weird way anime.
Hmm.
Oh, as we go along, it kind of gets further from that, which
Hmm.
I did enjoy. Um, it's an anime that is strangely very based in reality. Like
Right.
other than the whole closer to God and versus angels type thing, it's a lot.
Yep.
Uh, but you're right. Overall, it's enjoyable. I think. I'll be honest. Based on what I know, I don't think there's going to ever be a second season. Um, but
Yeah.
we will have to see. Um,
I wouldn't be
there is
mad
enough.
if there was a second one, but if there isn't, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. No. Well, like it does end on a pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Like episode 12 is this huge fight, but uh Ruka still needs to I've the sister and brother need to meet up. um Sniper Mask needs to figure out what his purpose is. Everyone's teaming up now, which is cool, and we now know what the masks do. Just
Hmm.
overall, like it's the unfortunate thing about anime is that because so many of them do tend to be flops, we never get a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't be surprised if this falls under that. Okay, we never see any more of it because Netflix didn't feel like putting the money in.
Do you think there's a some sort of translation issue with the name of the people in the masks that make it so awkward? Where it's like volleyball mask. You know what I mean? Like some of their names, I just like they're like eye rolling to me. It's like
Yeah,
baseball mask. I'm like, I wonder
yeah,
if it was like a translation, like it was something more than just, oh, this person's holding a knife, so it's knife mask, or if there was something there. Because some of it, like, okay, Sniper Mask, I think is cool. I get that, but just some of them are so awkward.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, monk mask.
Monk
Uh,
Mask, Servant Mask,
it's
right? Wasn't there like,
exactly, yeah. The servant mask, knife mask. There's like wrestling mask.
yeah,
There's boxing mask.
yeah,
Um, I guess I just don't know why the masks are all reduced to one thing that the person
mm-hmm,
is like obviously doing. It feels like a translation error for sure,
mm-hmm.
but I'd have to. I guess I should probably watch a couple episodes and sub and see what they
Yeah.
do.
See if
If it's
it's
the same. See if it's the same thing.
yeah. That's the only thing I could think of. I was like, ah, maybe something got lost along the way, and they had maybe a little bit more of a description in there.
Just need a little more.
Mm-hmm.
It just needs to not be blank. Insert blank thing mask. Sort of
Yeah.
deal there.
Yeah.
I'll go through the other two here.
Okay.
Demon Slayer finale. I really enjoy this season of Demon Slayer. I've read the manga and I know people are upset that it's not as actiony as the last one. And again, you're really gonna like Entertainment District. I think
Okay.
you watch the first three episodes and it's an endless train ride. It is full on there,
Okay.
and I think you'll really enjoy it. Where the newest season does end on a much slower note, but it's for build up purposes. Um, Pretty much how it works here is now there is going to be a training arc, which they've already announced is going to be the next arc. It's going to be TV, not a movie. And uh, after the training arc, then I do want to put it on the lines of like Mugen Train, where it's just fast paced.
Okay.
Um, to the ending there, and it's because the author of it kind of came out that during production of the manga, the author, who still remains anonymous to this day somehow,
Hmm.
um, she went ahead and like she was having trouble, like family issues, health issues, so she rushed the ending of the manga
Hmm.
and then has never come back out. So it's interesting. You never really hear people today doing that, like doing something successful and never showing the identity of your face, kind of deal there. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool. But I do need to spend a little bit of time. My favorite anime this season was Gundam Witch from Mercury. Uh, for the most part, like I want to say, I just love like it's old fashioned Gundam, like 2D robots fighting in space sort of stuff. School setting, much like Fire Emblem Three Houses, and Soletta and Minorine are like my favorite like couple that they've done in a while, and everything was really good, like writing wise and plot wise, until like the final three episodes where it got really rushed. Um, According to reports, this anime like was only ever supposed to be 24 episodes, but the issue was is that it gained such popularity that they were like, "Oh crap! Like we weren't prepared for all the popularity that this one provided." So the ending feels rushed. Um, I still really enjoy the ending. It's like it is a good like B. If I had to like grade it, it's a good B anime, which for Gundam is really good as of late. And it ended in 24 episodes. A lot of main Gundam things are like 50 plus episodes, so it's a little bit of a time sink. This 24 episodes and it's done. So again, if you watch anime, you're looking for something before all the new stuff comes out this season. Gundam Witch from Mercury. I cannot um, suggest it enough. It is a really good show. It's got like politics of like Game of Thrones, but then like fun, mecha gunfights that I like.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
It is. It's an interesting show.
Um,
Uh,
how we feel
so
about Secret Invasion?
Secret Invasion. I am okay with Secret Invasion so far. I do really need to see what else is happening to it. Like I enjoy Nick Fury. I don't know too much about the scrolls, and and maybe you know more about this than I do. Is Secret Invasion supposed to be like this is it feels like this is Nick Fury's like swan song in a way where everybody continues to say he's too old, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, you're too old to be in this field anymore. And he's just like, even when I'm in, I'm
Yeah.
out, or even when I'm out, I'm in. Kind of cheesy lines there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to see where it continues to go. I'm almost more interested in the other stuff that's going on, other than like Nick Fury's, like the Russian lady who tortured that one guy. Like
Yeah.
she's almost more interesting at this point than Nick Fury. Um, I was about to say like it's within the first two episodes, so I'm not sure how much of a spoiler it is. But like with what's her name? Agent like I know her name's like Colby
Yeah, Colby.
Slumbers or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she dies in the at the end
Yeah,
of that first episode, which is a
crazy.
really like yeah, it's interesting considering she's been such a big part of it. But maybe this is what happens in the comics. I don't know anything about Nick Fury in the comics, unfortunately. Um, I'm pretty lukewarm on it. How about you?
Okay. I mean, I like the like more grounded in reality Marvel stuff. Like Winter Soldier, like to me that's like I love that kind of stuff. So I'm enjoying it. Um my issue with it is one that I've seen a lot of people say is that the thing with Secret Invasion that a lot of people enjoy is the scrolls are impersonating big people like Captain America and like you know what I mean, and like you're not seeing that in the show because unless they're unless they've managed to get these people to come back on set without anybody knowing, like you're not going to see Robert Downey Jr., you know, or Chris Evans, and that's what you get in the comics is them
Okay.
impersonating, you know, like Avengers and that kind of stuff. I don't know if we're going to get that here. Maybe we see some of them. This is supposed to tie right into the Marvels, right? The movie coming out. So maybe we do see Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel at some point show up. But so far, like I think it was a good. The first episode was a good setup for you know what were the villain and what their ideas and morals were. Like I just like I said, like I really enjoy getting away from like the Guardians and the Thor, which I think belong in movies, these over the
Yeah.
top insane stuff, and then the TV shows being this like this and like Daredevil and all that like super grounded. I like that in my TV show. Not that I don't like WandaVision and those shows as well, but I think it's been pretty good so far. It seems like not very many people are paying attention though. Maybe. I don't know if people are just kind of tired of Marvel at this point. I'm not, but I get the general consensus that people are just kind of like, kind of over Marvel for the time being. And I know like all these movies keep getting pushed back. So
Yeah.
it's going to be even
Sure.
more spaced out in between. It's not like you're going to have like, oh, I got this TV show this month, then this movie, then this TV show. It's not going to be like that anymore. So it sounds like Marvel's listening and being like, all right, we're oversaturating the market here. Let's pull back a little bit. But I'm excited to see how this leads into the Marvels because I'm super excited for the Marvels movie. I think that's going to be cool.
Yeah, as am I. Like I like Kamala Khan. Like Miss
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, I think is probably one of my favorites
Yep.
so far that they've introduced. I just really liked her, like again grounded story that you had mentioned with Secret
Yep.
Invasion here. It's yeah, it's just secret. It's just with, and you probably know more about this than me. Do the scrolls have to like touch them in order to like copy them? Is that the whole thing? Because
Shouldn't have
why
to.
haven't I
Yeah.
was gonna say why haven't we seen them impersonate the Avengers yet?
Because they don't want to
Like
bring
that.
those actors in.
Okay, okay, I guess. All right, I
That's the only
guess
thing
it's
I
not.
can
Yeah,
think of. You know what I mean? Being like, we're not going to bring in Chris Hemsworth for a Secret Invasion show or Anthony Mackie. I mean, they could. Who knows? Maybe they do. But it
yeah.
definitely seems like they're trying to keep it smaller scale.
Okay, so I get. Okay, so now I'm starting to understand why. I guess you would need to have that actor come
Mm-hmm.
back, and
Yep.
that's been the issue. Is like they all just want to. They star in their movies, but they don't want to come in there. And do they copy their powers too? Is that what it is? Like if
Yeah.
somebody touched
Yeah. I
Scarlet
mean,
Witch, they could copy her essentially.
I don't know if it works that way. I mean, the scroll are super powerful, right? They're strong.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
know they're strong. Yeah.
I don't. I don't know if they would copy their powers or not. I don't think so. I think they
Okay.
would just have their appearance. I mean, copying powers is a Taskmaster thing,
Yeah.
and you know that didn't work out so well in the Black Widow movie, but but
Hopefully, it
apparently
comes.
that'll be back in the what is that Thunderbolts movie whenever that comes out.
Yeah, Thunderbolts. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, I just hope for something more from Taskmaster. I liked him, so it's just too
Yes,
bad he isn't he isn't anything great in Black Widow. Is what I'll say. So
Taskmaster's a great villain,
he is,
and
he
it
is, and
wasn't didn't
I
work in the movie.
yeah, and well, like I've been like Marvel has gotten me into their comics. Like I
Mm-hmm.
am now reading like the Spider Verse. I read all of the Miles Morales comics that are out. I'm now reading Spider Verse. I do plan on reading more than other than Spider Man right now, but it is like it him and these other comics like they're fun. Like
Hmm.
I enjoy like when Taskmaster figures out how to copy like starlings, um, like flying and stuff like that. Like it's cool that he just like learns it just based off of watching.
Yep.
So like overall, I want more of Taskmaster, and I just hope that like in general, like you're right. I want to see like Secret Invasion kind of, I guess, pull off almost this Loki type ending that kind of
Hmm.
sets everything in motion for the Marvels and everything else that they're trying to set up
Right. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm okay with it so far. I'm not like blown away, but I don't hate it.
here. Yeah. I
And then Polite Society. I couldn't remember if I talked about this or not. This is on Peacock right now.
Okay.
I really like this movie. It's about a girl who is in high school, who's training to become a stunt woman. And her sister ends up dating and getting engaged to uh, a guy from a wealthy family. I'm trying not to give away too much. This movie is like it's like an action comedy, so it's extremely funny. But when she has like these confrontations, it turns into these like highly choreographed fight scenes, which are hilarious. Um, it's all based off of um, like Middle Eastern Indian families. And it's just so incredibly funny. I watched it on like a whim and I looked it up and I was like, oh, is that like a 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes? I was like, oh, I'll check this out. And it's actually very, very good. It's a good action comedy. And I had never heard of it until I just saw it on like the Peacock main home screen. And it's best like I don't want to spoil a lot of it. That's the main plot. Like she's in high school. This is what she wants to be. Her parents don't want her to be a stunt woman because they're like, you should be a doctor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
her sister is a an artist, and she drops out of school, and they're like, oh, you should marry somebody rich, like like that style. There's some stuff going on with like the family she's marrying into, which is like when that came up and that came out of nowhere, I was like, what the it's something that you just don't expect. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I just think like the fight scenes they're choreographed so well, but they're so funny. Like they're just over the top, just way
Right.
like a wire work and that kind of stuff. It's a great movie. I definitely think people should be checking this one out, and I haven't heard anybody talking about it.
I'll have to take a look at it. I've
Hmm.
Now that I think about it, I don't know if I have Peacock anymore, thanks to it not being available with Xfinity anymore. But
Right,
I'm
they
still gonna,
dropped it.
I'll still take a look. It's only
Hmm.
like $5 a month, which is actually one of the more like, okay, you
Yeah,
can pay $5 a month for a streaming service.
yeah, and they
Crazy.
add a lot of stuff to it. So yeah, I mean, definitely check that out if you have it. Watch it. If you don't, I mean, that's probably worth $5.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
$5. That's what like, and I also feel the same way about like Prime Video as of late. Is
Hmm.
like I haven't really been watching anything on there. I did start watching the new Grand Tour thing there,
Yes, I was
but
just
it's
gonna
like
say if you watched that because that was fantastic.
I just started. I haven't finished
Okay.
it. I plan on finishing it later today.
Hmm.
Um, but the main thing is like it feels like you just need one thing to really get people to like just subscribe for a couple months.
Yep.
Because it's the same thing with like Amazon. Is you either have The Boys and The Rings of Power. I'm going to try watching The Citadel later today to
Hmm.
see if I like that on Amazon Prime. But or Jack Reacher, I guess, also is on there. Of course, now I'm naming things that come to mind, but I
Yep.
haven't been watching a lot of Prime lately because they haven't updated Reacher or
Yep.
like some of their other stuff. So
Grand Tour for me, and along that line, Clarkson's Farm are like my
yeah,
go tos on Amazon Prime. Like as soon as those pop up, I immediately watch them.
yeah.
But yeah, and the boys.
But yeah, the last movie I watched, and I'm not sure if I talked about it with Extraction 2 last
Hmm.
week. Extraction 2, just we're kind of getting spoiled, I think, with action movies. Like
Hmm.
that's how I feel with both John Wick 4 and this movie coming out. That the long take sequence in the prison.
Hmm.
I can't like I know there's tricks as to how they're doing that, like much like in 1917, in Sam Mendes's movie, but it's just so much fun to watch. Like you just feel more part of the action when it's not cutting 5 different times in 20 seconds. Um, it's kind of like showing you the progression of how things get more chaotic in the prison all in one sequence, whereas usually they would cut back and forth between them. I do think some of the stuff is a little weird. Like the moment they leave the prison, they continue the long take stuff, but it's like through a drone, and you can tell that their faces are CGI
Mm-hmm.
in some of them, so it looks a little weird in particular cases. But they're just fun action movies to pick up and to like just pick up and watch. I I don't see why they wouldn't continue making these ones. It seems like because these have come out and have always been like the next bigger like, oh man, this is now the most watched thing on Netflix type of deal. I will say with Edris Ilba's character, and I don't know if this is a tie-in to like that movie. I think man, what was it? Like The Fallen Sin,
Mm-hmm.
or like he does where he's Luther. Like I don't know if that's a tie-in to this because they're both Netflix original things, or
Right.
whether or not Idris Elba is just in the movie for the
Yeah.
sake of being in the movie. Um, I do think an action team up with Idris Elba and one of the Hemsworth, that's
Chris. Mm-hmm.
Chris Hemsworth, would be
Mm-hmm.
a fun movie. I think
Yeah.
it'd be a fun action movie. Just because that's not the type of team up we see very often. You know, you see it in the Expendables, not really with these guys.
Yep.
But overall, enjoyable movie. I enjoyed the heck out of the action. I do like that we expanded on the sister and brother a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the girl is her name Nikki or something.
I don't
Um,
remember.
she is badass in her own right. Like she is fun to watch too. They all are. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just it's a really fun action movie. Watch it on a Sunday, you know, rainy Sunday like we are today,
Yep.
and get to watch it just because they're fun and entertaining. But
It's nice
that's
to
all I got.
watch something on Netflix every once in a while because I feel like I don't anymore.
Yeah, and because like all of the anime that I watch from them, they aren't updating them right now, so I have to wait.
Yeah.
Kind of deal there. Oh, you know what? I didn't talk about Oshi No Ko. I'm not worried about it. Oshi No Ko is great.
Okay.
Uh,
That's a good
but
review.
you have to have a high dive account for it. Not everybody wants it. Like that's another anime subscription that you have to pay for. And as you said, Craig, you are not the type of person to have an anime subscription
I
whatsoever.
am not.
So
If it
I
shows
guess
up
you'll
on
have to borrow.
Netflix, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll just have to give you my account.
Okay.
That's probably what'll end up happening.
You're trying to drag
Uh,
me down into the anime depths.
I'm only trying to help you watch the good stuff because I
Uh-huh.
understand there's a lot of crap. I watch a
Mm,
lot of crap. I'll be the first one to admit I watch a lot of crap.
right.
But
What
I don't.
did you watch? This is a side note, but I saw on like just added to Netflix, and I don't remember what the name was, but I remember the description was like all the men have died, and or something, and it's like there's only a few men left alive, and they're being held by the women, as like I forget. I just saw it, and I was like, I don't think I can watch that, but I'm gonna have to ask you if you've seen it. Um, maybe I'll have to look it up, and maybe like once we're done, maybe we can talk about it like next week. But I saw that and I was like, oh my god, what is this? I have to know
I'll
what this
force
is.
myself through it. I'll force myself to watch it. To be honest,
That's fair.
um, if if I have to. But like I've heard of that premise. I'm not sure if it's like school prison or
Okay.
prison school. There's also a older anime. This and of course with Netflix being newer, it's not Vandred. I know it's not Vandred.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to send me what the name of it
Yep.
is, just to see what it is. Netflix has some good anime stuff, but there's a lot of crap,
Yeah.
on there too. So just keep that in mind. Netflix, I'm a Crunchyroll guy. It doesn't cost a lot for a monthly subscription there, and you can get a lot of the good stuff that's there. But
Mm-hmm.
you'll tell me the name here in a little bit.
Yep.
But I want to thank everybody for listening. I know everybody misses other Craig as well. He's out camping. He's got a homework assignment, so hopefully he fulfills the homework assignment, and then we leave better because of it. He should be joining us next week, as far as I know. I do want to thank everybody for listening. If you are, please feel free to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Comment below. Tell us. Let's see here. What would be the thing that you comment about today? Um, The Black Flag remaster. Are you into pirates? Like I'm not. Like tell us
No,
if I'm wrong. Like is Black Flag like this masterpiece that I just don't understand? That's what I need you guys to do. Is convince me to play Black Flag.
there we go.
And if you're listening, please make sure to review us on your podcast listening platform of choice and share it with a friend. We appreciate all the help we get. If you could follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I do appreciate all of the help we get on those and all of the support that we get as well. I look forward to talking with you guys next time. Have a good week and have a good 4th of July. We'll see you guys next
See you
time.
later.
Bye.